Here's Gregg in over the Moncton blue line. Feeds it in for Snell. Snell into the corner. Gillingham is tied up with McCoolchuk. Puck cleared around on the boards. Elahu couldn't keep it in, and Gernander knocks it down the ice. Back to the Leafs to get it is Chris Gavaderas. Gavaderas. Whoa, took a shot right at his own net. Jablonski had to stop that. He went to pass it to Snell. Now it's Gregg at center for the Leafs. Does a bit of fancy work and put Todd Gillingham offside. Now Gregg has to go back inside his own line. This time he gives it to Graham Marshall. Here's Marshall at center. Moncton to back at full strength. Marshall in over the line. Centering pass. And the Hawks. Fisher couldn't get it out. It's kept in by Thomas Kucharczyk. There's a shot and blocked by Todd Copeland. There's a penalty coming up. And it's going to go to the Leafs, it looks like.
This is Grant Marshall and
Whoa.
Brian Straub, I believe, George.
Whoa! And Marshall, I think, is getting the best of that, or is he? Boy, there's some heavy punches thrown there.
Well, they're really both wailing away at each other. Marshall has a disadvantage. He lost his helmet, and down they go. This is not uncommon. Last night was fairly physical, but not too much. But when you have back-to-back games, especially on back-to-back nights with the same teams, we've talked about this before, animosity builds up, especially towards the end of the season, and I think the pot's boiling over a little bit here early in the first period. Straub and Marshall.
Well, there was a penalty coming up to the Leafs there. Marshall was getting a minor penalty prior to that.
George, you remember that this game started off last night with a penalty to Straub, high-sticking Marshall, and we talked about the fact that that goal that Marshall scored in Moncton, it was Straub who was draped all over him, so perhaps they have something going.
Actually, Straub was almost right on his back, like piggy bank. He had an arm wrapped around his neck. 6:20 into the opening period. The St. John's Maple Leafs won. The Moncton Hawks no scorer. Tonight's Newfoundland telephone face-off question. We're asking you to decide who you think should win the Leafs' Most Valuable Player award this season. If you think it should be Rich Chernomaz, phone 1-900-273-3701. If you think it should be Chris Snell, call 1-900-273-3702. Or if you think it should be Yannick Perreault, call 1-900-273-3703. 50 cents a call, with all proceeds going to minor hockey. Brendan, quick the penalty.
Okay, there were fighting majors to each of them, and Marshall picked up an extra minor for high sticking.
Okay, from the draw, the Hawks on a power play now. Leafs lead at 1-0. McCoolchuk at his own line. Passes center to Brickley, and over the line to Fisher. Into the slot, Fisher shot! Big stop by Jablonski, and he holds on to the faceoff.
Well, Jablonski, good stop. He got caught a little deep in the net as Fisher stepped in, but fired right at him. Back to Charlie Bourgeois, the Moncton assistant coach. He said, they've got to be careful. They don't want to get into this whole business of waiting for guys to help them from Moncton, but from Winnipeg. But he says, oh boy, will it ever upgrade their power play when they get Arnold Blomsten and John LeBlanc and Russ Romanek back, and Dave Tomlin.
From the draw, McCoolchuk at the point. Shot! Blocked by Jablonski. Puck goes into the corner. Derek Donald after it. Back to the point to McCoolchuk. McCoolchuk takes a shot. Moves in front. Shot it wide then. Puck comes back to the line. It's Cook clearing it into the corner. McGeela, who's there waiting for it. He rips it off the glass down the ice. Hawks back in their own zone to regroup in the power play. It's Oleg McCoolchuk. McCoolchuk starting out. Gets that puck over his own line at center with a pass to Joe Cook. Cook fires it in over the Leaf line. Brickley let it go for McCoolchuk, who I think was expecting Brickley to pick it up, and he just went, the puck went harmlessly by him all the way back down the ice. That's McCoolchuk back in his own zone. A pass knocked away from Brickley by Mark Gregg. Chris Snell recovers. Snell takes it back inside his own line. Gets it back over to Curtis Hunt. Hunt starts out for the Leafs, gets to the center, and fires it down into Moncton territory. Beauregard blocks it behind the net. Backward is Mark Vichot. Vichot cuts right in front of his own net. Gets it out to center ice to Cook. He's checked by Mark Gregg. Gregg then hit Rob Murray solidly. Loose puck picked up by Hunt and over the line to Gavaderas. Gavaderas is knocked down. That's Larry Corville. Starting back from Moncton. Corville gets that puck at center ice. Shoots it in over the Leaf line. There's Rob Murray racing after it. Murray gets it around back of the Leaf net. It comes back to the point. Here's a drive, and that was deflected wide by Vichot. Took a shot, kicked up by Jablonski, and the Leafs clear it down the ice. Beauregard out of his net, gets it up to Vichot. The teams make changes as the penalty's just about up. There's a pass to center to Rob Murray, and the Leafs are back at full strength now. Murray at center, in over the St. John's line of McClellan. McClellan to Copeland. Copeland into Rob Murray. Centers it in front. They score! Larry Corville, who was left all alone in front of Pat Jablonski.
Well, I think if they look at the tape of that one, Mark Crawford maybe had a little chat with the rookie Rod Butts, who came out of the penalty box, and I guess Corville was a check, and he realized it a little bit late. But you're going to expect that. Number one, that wasn't his line. Number two is just new to the pro game. That is not a power play goal.
Larry Corville scores to give Moncton a tied up. It's now Leafs 1, Moncton 1, 8:28. The time of the goal by Corville.
Corville's second of the season. As George talked about in yesterday's game, he's just a 18-year-old junior out of Newmarket, the Newmarket Royals.
From the drop, puck's cleared in over the lead line. There's Kevin McClellan in the corner. Centers it. Kovacs just able to dip it in. Back come the Leafs. Darren Colburn. Pass at center is intercepted by Gowdy. He fires it in over the leaf line. Backboard is Guy LaHoo. Right is on that off the boards for Colburn. Colburn gets it to Gillingham. Here's Gillingham out over his own line at center. Shoots it in over the Moncton line. Blocked by Gowdy. Knocks it back to center. Now it's Holden for the Leafs. He's checked. Curtis Hunt recovers a puck. Hunt feeds it up to Darren Colburn at center. Colburn shoots it in over the Moncton blue line. Blocked behind the net by Beauregard. Copeland back. Copeland gets it to McClellan. McClellan put it into the corner. Nobody there. Gillingham in after it. Behind the net for Colburn. He's bumped by Gowdy. Now it's Copeland clearing it off the boards, and it comes out over the line to center. Backward is Chris Snell. Snell over to Curtis Hunt. Hunt crosses center ice. Shoots it in over the Moncton line. And Kovacs.
Well, you're not.
Curtis Hunt from behind.
And I don't think you're going to see Curtis go here, George. Again, we'll reiterate that hand situation he has and the damaged hands. So he's just kind of holding on. But I think Kovacs is going to get something to start, or he should at least. This was going on behind the play, well behind the plays. Kovacs almost had the headlock on Hunt.
Kovacs and Hunt, by the way, Gillingham is shaking his head. I think they're each getting 2 minutes. Which is a terrible call if it is. Leafs 1, Hawks 1, 9:32 gone in the opening period. Reminder about tonight's BFI Hockey Night Trivia brought to you by BFI Waste Systems. Waste collection and recycling systems you can depend on. We'll have the question for you in the second period. Give you the answer sometime in the third.
George, that Moncton goal, Larry Corville, his second of the season from Copeland and McClellan. It was 8 seconds after Butts had stepped out of the penalty box. He'd been serving the extra minor to Grant Marshall.
.9:32 mark of the period.
Well,
yes, there is apparently an extra penalty going on the play to Frank Kovacs. At least there's one up on the clock, and there's none other beside for Curtis Hunt. So it looks like the Leafs are going to go to the power play.
Well, we would suspect a double minor of some sort to Kovacs and maybe a singular one for Hunt. No fight really there.
Hawks penalty to number 28, Frank Kovacs. 2 minutes for roughing, 2 minutes for holding. Leafs penalty to number 4, Curtis Hunt. 2 minutes for holding. Time of the penalties, 9 minutes, 32 seconds.
Well, they each get 2 minutes for holding, and Kovacs gets an extra 2 for roughing. So the Leafs are on a power play. Score tied 1-1. From the draw, Matt Martin takes it deep into his own zone. Now here's Martin starting out for the Leafs. Gets it out over his own line at center. Fires it in over the Moncton line. It goes around back of the net. The Leafs driving after it. Perreault to Augusta. He put it into the corner. It's Oleg Mikulchuk with the Mikulchuk. Clears it off the boards, and it goes all the way down the ice. Jablonski out of his goal to stop it for Chris Snell. Now Snell will take it behind his own net. Starting out 1-1 tie. Leafs and Hawks here in the first. Here's Snell at center. Shooting it in over the Moncton line. Mikulchuk blocked it behind the net. Walby in after it. And it's intercepted by Rob Murray, who clears it out to center. Backward is Martin over to Perreault. Perreault fires it in over the Moncton line. It goes to the corner. Todd Copeland in after it. Copeland starting over the Hawks, finds an opening and shoots it down the ice right on the Leaf net. Stopped by Jablonski. Jablonski gets it up to Chris Snell. Leafs haven't had a shot on goal in this power play yet, and it's half over. Snell then gets a pass up to Guy LaHoo. LaHoo at center, checked by Ken Gernander. Now it's Mark Reich for the Leafs. Over to Chris Snell. Snell gets it over to Guy LaHoo. LaHoo, it's center to Chris Govidaris. Govidaris and over the line, intercepted by Copeland. And Copeland backhands it down the ice. Back to the Leafs again is Chris Snell. Now here's Snell at center. Snell in over the Moncton line, trying to go around Todd Copeland. Centers it in front of the net. And the Hawks, Rob Murray clears it back down the ice. 25 seconds left in the Moncton penalty. Back to the Leafs is Guy LaHoo. LaHoo was checked by Murray, but Govidaris recovers the puck. That's Govidaris starting out for the Leafs. Took a pretty good hit from Rob Murray, but I think Govidaris might have got the worst of it. That's Mark Gregg for the Leafs at center. Here's Gregg in over the Moncton line. It's whistled down offside. I think Rob Butts might have been in just a split second too early.
Well, George, Mark Crawford's been doing a lot of experimenting with the power play, different combinations. You see LaHoo, guys like LaHoo and Butts out there, but really, I think more than anything, the Leafs' lack of success here in the first couple of power plays, we talked about no shots on goal in this one, maybe shows that Rich Turnamaz is really the engine that drives it.
Oh, yeah. 1-1 tie, Leafs and Hawks, 11:24 into the opening period. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs of the OCM on Newfoundland Sports Network.
We do please report immediately to the Ultramars and on the entrance to register for the Ultramars slapshot for the jackpot contest.
From the draw, the puck is cleared in over the Moncton line. Straub back, he shoots it off the boards down the ice, right on the lead net. Backboard is Matt Martin. Martin behind his own goal. Starting out, a pass goes by Rob Butts to the Moncton blue line. Backward is Oleg Mikulchik. Mikulchik to Derek Donald. He gets it to center now to Craig Fisher. Fisher shoots it in over the Leaf line. It's stopped. Here come the Leafs again. Lacroix to Kucharczyk. By him in over the Moncton line. Straub in the corner after. Kucharczyk on him. Puck is behind the net. There's Rob Butts with it. Butts try to jam it in front for Lacroix. He does. And Lacroix is knocked down by Straub before he could get a shot away. Mikulchik clears it off the boards. Nato kept in by Matt Martin. There's Martin behind the net to Kucharczyk. In front, and being checked was Lacroix, and the puck comes by him down the ice. Jablonski out of the goal. Gets it up to Matt Martin. He shoots it in over the Moncton line. Kucharczyk knocks it back down the ice. Back to the Leafs to get it is Paul Holden, and icing called against Moncton. 12:27 into the opening period. The St. John's Maple Leafs 1 and the Moncton Hawks 1. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the VOCM on Newfoundland Sports Network.
And green sleeves and remind horses we get one lucky Leafs fan a great blushing track suit for working out during the summer months. And tonight's lucky winner is in Section 9, Row A, Seat 1.
George, Ken McRae, as we mentioned, Frank Bilos and David Harlock remain with Toronto. Harlock actually played with the big Leafs last night, which is a bit of a surprise. A lot of people, including myself, expecting him down this weekend.
From the draw, Snell's shot, that's blocked. Leafs, Govidaris kept it in, but his pass was blocked by Cook. He gets it to center to Doucette to McClellan, in over the Leaf line into Doucette. Backhand shot is wide. Back to the Leafs, it's Stephen Walby. Here's Walby at center. He's checked. Loose puck is recovered by Chris Snell. Snell with it. Hit Wayne Doucette with it, and puck bounces in over the Moncton line. Copeland backward. There's it off the boards to center. Goes to the Leaf line. Backward is Chris Snell. He lost it. McClellan his shot. He hit the goal post. McClellan with the open net after Chris Snell gave him the puck, but he hit the post. There's a shot from a sharp angle. It's wide. Into the corner now, Stephen Walby. Walby clears that puck to center ice. Copeland backward ahead to Doucette. Doucette for Bilesma. Puck is by him and over the Leaf line. Jablonski out of the net, clears it around on the boards for Stephen Walby. Walby, a pass at center is intercepted. Rob Murray, a long shot. That's blocked by Pat Jablonski, and he holds on for the faceoff. Well, the Hawks are starting to throw their weight around, and I'm wondering if it's beginning to have an effect on the Leafs. The Leafs are starting to skate with their heads up, Brendan, looking at the kids.
No, I think you got to get back again about this absence of Frank Bialowas. I don't think you'd see much of this going on if Bialowas was with St. John's. And again, we think he may be down here early next week in time for the playoffs. Harlock, by the way, it's not surprising to find out that he's still playing with Toronto. Boris Mironov did not return as quickly as anticipated from the rib injury. Dave Ellis still at the line. Harlock stays up.
Matt Martin takes the puck, goes behind his own net, gets it to Curtis Hunt. On up the boards to Todd Gillingham. Gillingham. Pass at center to Colburn, and it went off his stick. Now the loose puck. Gillingham after it. He missed it. Finally, Mark Bichot comes up with it for Moncton, shoots it in over the Leafs line. Backward is Matt Martin. Martin around back of his own net. There's that puck off the boards out to center. Back to the Hawks to get it is Brian Straub. Straub turning inside his own line. Gets it up to Dan Bilesman at center. He's hit by Gillingham. Rod Murray picks it up. Murray in over the St. John's line. It's offside. 14:04 got on the first period. The St. John's Maple Leafs won. The Moncton Hawks won. Reminder, tonight's Newfoundland telephone face-off question. Who do you think should win the Leafs Most Valuable Player award? To vote for Rich Chernamaz, call 1-900-273-3701. Vote for Chris Snell, 1-900-273-3702. Or to vote for Yannick Perreault, call 1-900-273-3703. 50 cents a call with all proceeds going to minor hockey. You could win a rare autographed St. John's Maple Leafs hockey stick, gift certificates from McDonald's or Dominion, or even an all-inclusive air Atlantic trip for two to next year's NHL All-Star Game in San Jose. One die, puck speared in over the leaf line, and Curtis Hunt shoots it up into the crowd.
Well, the souvenir. Last game of the regular season souvenir. Hopefully there'll be lots more games here at Memorial Stadium over the next couple of months. And that's how long the playoffs could stretch, right to the end of May, if all series go their limit. And George, with the tightness of some of the teams, and you'd expect at least some of the open round series to go 7 games.
Oh, yeah. From the dot, Pat Martin of the Leafs at center now for Patty Augusta in over the Moncton line. Augusta dumped it in toward the net. McCoolchick comes up with it, and they get it to the line and out. There's Fisher. A long pass to Derek Donald. Offside, it's called at the St. John's blue line. 1-1 tie, Leafs and Hawks, 5:28 to go in the opening period. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the VOCM on Newfoundland Sports Network.
To Hawaii, please check your Air Atlantic baggage tags. If your tag has the number 055558.
Well, they're just drawing for the Air Atlantic trip to Hawaii, and Brendan, since you had to buy a ticket to win that one, I guess you and I don't win. But in the meantime, if whoever wins it doesn't want to go to Hawaii, you and I will gladly take that burden off your hands. I'd even go with you. From the draw, here's Mark Reagan over the line. Great play by Richards. And then Gouvedare's shot, and that was blocked by Andy Brickley, who batted it away with his hand. He was down on his knees in the net. Leafs ain't going to come much closer than that without putting it in. Now it's Chris Snell at his own line to Mark Gregg. Here's Gregg backing over the Moncton line. Gregg into the slot, a shot. He drifted it wide. Gregg after it. He's knocked down by Copeland. Now puck's cleared in behind the Moncton net. Beauregard out of the goal. He was checked. There's a scramble for it along the boards. Derek Donald has it to Todd Copeland. Copeland all down by Walby. Puck comes back to the point to Snell. Snell to Gouvedaris. He's checked and Derek Donald clears it back down to the Leaf blue line. Back for St. John's to get it is Grant Marshall. Marshall clears it out to the line, and Doucette kept it in, cleared it back into the corner. Backward is Todd Gillingham. Gillingham gets it back to Yannick Perreault. Perreault over for Grant Marshall. Marshall gets it out over his own line at center. Pass to Gillingham. He steers it in over the Moncton line. Back for this Brian Straub. Straub checked in there by Perreault. Here's Colburn centering it in front. That is taken away by Ken Jernander. Jernander back with the Hawks at center. He's head over the St. John's line. Drop pass to Kovacs. A shot off Hunt stick into the corner. And it's picked up by Guy Lahou. Lahou for the Leafs. Checked by Frank Kovacs. Gillingham in there to help out. Gillingham gets it ahead to Curtis Hunt. On ahead to Yannick Perreault. Perreault out over his own line at center. To Darren Colburn. Here's Colburn in over the Moncton line. A pass back, and it went behind Perreault out to center. Back come the Hawks. Ken Jernander in over the St. John's line. Pass over to Straub and in goal. His shot way up into the crowd off a deflection. 1-1 tie, Leafs and Hawks. 3:35 to go in the opening period. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the VOCM on Newfoundland Sports Network.
For a guaranteed prize of $1,000. We need P. Murphy of St. John's, Tom Eloy of Logan.
Well, that wasn't a bad shift for Corner Brook's Darren Colburn. A little hustle in the corner in the offensive end. Misplayed pass out in front. But boy, did he ever lay a good check on Ken Jernander of the Hawks down deep in the Leafs end.
From the draw, McCoolchick, a shot blocked. Now Thomas Kucharczyk comes up with it. Kucharczyk gets it out to center ice. It's taken there by Joe Cook. Cook back from Moncton in over the St. John's line. A long, weak bouncing shot blocked by Jablonski. Got it behind the net. All holding to Matt Martin. It's knocked off his stick center, but Kucharczyk comes up with it. Eric Lacroix. Lacroix brings it out to center. Fires it in over the Moncton line. It's Beauregard after it. Gives it to Cook. Cook up on the boards to Bilesma. Bilesma passes center, intercepted by Thomas Kucharczyk. He dumps it back toward the Moncton line, taken there by McCoolchick. McCoolchick turning inside his own line. Gets a pass to center to Bilesma. Checked by Kucharczyk. And now it's Lacroix playing it back to Martin. Martin to Holden. Holden to Lacroix. Lacroix at center shoots it in over the Moncton blue line. It goes behind the net. Backboard is Joe Cook. Cook starting out a pass. Comes all the way back to the Leaf blue line where Guy Lahou has it. That's Lahou for the Leafs. A pass intended for Gavaderis goes by him down the ice. Backboard is Oleg Mikulchik, and it's icing call against St. John's. 1-1 tie, Leafs and Hawks. 2:32 to go in the opening period.
Well, Guy Lahou's seen a lot of ice time tonight, including the power play. He's been out there for a couple of man advantage situations. In fact, that's all the Leafs have had so far in this game. And I think it's part of Mark Crawford's plan is to not to burn out Chris Snell and Paul Holden and Curtis Hunt, but at the same time, I'll tell you, it's not only that, it might be a little reward for Guy Lahou, who I think's been playing pretty well lately.
Well, if I was, we'll get a break now. From the draw, puck goes into the corner in Leaf territory. There's a scramble along the boards. That is taken away by Mark Gregg. That's Gregg getting it over his own line at center. He's in over the Moncton line with a pass to Gavaderis. A shot. Oh, and that just failed to go in. Hit him in the hand, I believe. Puck comes down to the Leaf blue line. Backboard is Lahou. To Curtis Hunt. Leafs have had some chances in this period. Here's Gregg again. In over the Moncton line. He falls. Copeland went over him. And the Hawks clear to center ice. Gavaderis flips it back in over the Moncton blue line. Back to the Hawks to get it. It's Gowdy. That's Gowdy clearing it out to center ice. It's stopped there by Marshall. Marshall to Holden. Holden to Gregg. Gregg flips it in over the Moncton blue line. Puck goes back into the corner. Backboard is Todd Copeland. And the Leafs are going to be called for icing. That was shot in the St. John's side of center. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the VOCM All-Newfoundland Sports Network.
Please report immediately to the Ultramars and on the entrance.
Brendan, what I was going to say earlier, if there was an award, and it's too bad there's not, for the most improved player in the St. John's Maple Leafs this year, Guy Lahou would win it hands down.
You can just see it display a lot more confidence, not afraid of the puck, and steps up in the offensive zone every so often now.
From the draw, it's Paul Holden in the corner in his own zone for the Leafs. Holden gets it to the line, now kept him by Straub. A shot, Holden got in front of that. This time he clears it to center ice. Back to the Hawks, Todd Copeland takes it back inside his own line, gets it again, Jernander at center. He's checked by Gillingham. Here's Perreault with the puck, shooting it in over the Moncton line. Puck goes behind the net. Loose puck now, it comes back to the point. Holden dumps it in behind the net. Straub after it. Gillingham stepped into him. Todd Copeland picks up the loose puck. Here's Copeland starting out for the Leafs. Gets it to center to Kovacs. Kovacs to the Leaf line, then dumps it into the corner. Knocked down behind the net by Jablonski. With a minute left in the period. Matt Martin clears it off the boards, back down to the Moncton blue line. Backboard is Oleg Mikulchik. It's under to Kovacs to Jernander to Kovacs and over the Leaf line. A pass over to Bilesma. Bilesma cutting to the net. Checked by Curtis Hunt. His puck is picked up by Rob Butts. He fires it off the boards. Not out, kept him by Straub. Straub dumps it into the corner. Bilesma after it. Hunt's all over him. Bilesma then plays it back. It's center, but taken away by Rob Butts. Butts gets it over to Eric Lacroix. Here's Lacroix at center. The long shot off Copeland's stick. In over the line. Butts after it. A shot blocked, but it's whistled down offside.
Well, not surprisingly, Mark Crawford sends out Butts and Lacroix after some Leafs got mugged on the previous shift, most notably Yannick Perreault. And I think if it keeps up with the clutching and the pine and the little shots away from the puck, you're going to see a lot more of Butts and Lahou in the second and third periods, as long as the ref calls this type of game where he allows that stuff to go.
He's let an awful lot go in the first period. Leafs have had a lot of scoring chances in the period, but it's been more luck than the goaltending of Stephen Beauregard. From the draw, it's Corville at center, tipping it in over the St. John's line. Back to the Leafs to get it is Guy Lahou. Lahou goes behind his own net. Gets it to Kucharczyk, back to Lahou. Now in the corner to Curtis Hunt. On a pass at center for Lacroix. That's blocked by Mikulchik. Kucharczyk fires a long winning wide of the Moncton net, and that's going to win the opening period. So the score after 20 minutes of play, it's all tied up. The St. John's Maple Leafs won, and the Moncton Hawks won. We'll be back with our first intermission of the night in just a moment. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the VOCM All-Newfoundland Sports Network. And Beauregard, he clears it into the corner. Butts in there after it. Butts and Mikulczyk do a bit of shoving. There's Butts and Mikulczyk with the gloves off.
Well, Mikulczyk had to go with Guy Lahou last night, and now Larry Corville
steps in and Butts grabbed him.
Well, Mikulczyk's got some stitches in his lip from his fight with Guy Lahou last night. I don't know if Corville was thinking of that. I'm not surprised at that, George. Just what you said off the top. A lot of clutching and grabbing, and I think the Leafs are getting fed up with that, and that's why Mr. Butts is out there. Not for long, though. He goes to the penalty box along with Mikulczyk. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Larry Corville.
Corville should definitely get something out of this. He's heading toward the Moncton bench. Remains to be seen what's going to happen here. That coming at the 25-second mark of the second period. Well, while we're sorting this out, we'll remind you once again of tonight's Newfoundland telephone face-off question. Who do you think should win the Leafs' Most Valuable Player Award? To vote Rich Chernamaz, call 1-900-273-3701. To vote for Chris Snell, call 1-900-273-3702. Or to vote for Yannick Perreault, call 1-900-273-3703.
George, I think Corville is gone. He is from the game, and
third man in.
Well, there was no real fight, but I think the call there was that both Mikulczyk and Butts had showed their intention to fight. It wasn't that Mikulczyk was backing down, and when Corville stepped in between and grabbed Butts, it was at least technically third man in.
And Rob Laird wants to have a talk to the referee. And Rob into an animated discussion with O'Halloran over there. Going to be minor penalties to Butts and Mikulczyk. I can't even think them roughing, Brendan. Probably delay of game or unsportsmanlike conduct, something to that effect.
But again, I mean, if there are only minor penalties given to those two, Butts and Mikulczyk, and then your Corville gets the third man into a fight that never existed. But that might have taken place. That had not even.
The book doesn't say fight.
No, that's right.
The book says altercation.
It wasn't even much of an altercation.
No.
Anyway, he's gone.
But I'm sure that Rob Laird was trying to argue the very point that you were making. Well, we'll wait for the announcement.
Well, right now the Leafs, there's nothing posted for the Leafs in terms of the man advantage, so it looks to us like they're making a misconduct for being the third man in for Corville in that incident.
Well, it won't be a misconduct. If they're calling third man in, it's got to be a game.
That's what I mean, a game misconduct, but no minor or major penalty attached to it.
Coincidental roughing minors to Hawks number 20, Oleg Mikulczyk, and Leafs 34, Rob Butts, 2 minutes. And to Hawks number 2, Larry Corville, game misconduct. Time of the penalty, 25 seconds.
That's it.
Coincidental roughing minors to Mikulczyk.
Roughing minors, and that's to Butts and Mikulczyk, and that's stretching that. And Corville gets a game misconduct. Puck clear to center ice. 4 skaters aside now as Todd Copeland of the Hawks takes it back to his own line. Copeland gets it to Ken Gernander. Gernander back to Copeland. Copeland a pass up to Derek Donald. Here's Donald at center now for Moncton. He's in over the St. John's line. A shot blocked by Jablonski, but it's whistled offside anyway. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs of the OCM on Newfoundland Sports Network.
The official courier of the Atlantic Division of the AHL. Be sure to get your tickets for the Leafs here in the Ward.
Well, it's not surprising the Leafs have Chris Govaderis and Mark Gregg out there in this 4-on-4 situation, but not for long as Mark Crawford changes things up. It's going to be Walby and Lacroix up front, Guy Lahou on defense with Paul Holden. Walby at the draw.
Eric Donald shoving Paul Holden, and that's that's Brian Gowdy. Gowdy, he's not very tall, but he's got a reputation as a tough guy down in the East Coast League. Pretty good fight with Rob Butts in Moncton. From the draw, the Hawks get it. Copeland over to Gowdy. Gowdy's checked by Walby. Bilesma recovers a loose puck. Here's Dan Bilesma out at center for Moncton and over the St. John's line. Try to split the defense. Does shot. Big stop. Fine play by Bilesma. Puck is center. Copeland with the drive. Kicked out by Jablonski. Now the Leafs start back. Here's Paul Holden at center to Lacroix. Lacroix in over the Moncton line. A shot. Beauregard kicked that into the corner. Puck back to the point. Holden knocks it into the corner. Gowdy with it. Plays it around on the boards for Rob Murray. Murray turns behind his own net. Now starts out for Moncton. Murray gets it out over his own line at center. Lines up for the long shot. Blocked by Jablonski. He leaves it there for Paul Holden. Here's Holden. Long pass at center. Oh, the grabbing and Colburn. It's that time Copeland had a sweater half off him. No penalty in the play. Puck speared down and over the Moncton blue line. Copeland back for it. Puck was into the corner. Now the penalty coming up to Beauregard for dumping Yannick Perreault.
Yeah, it's going to be interference in another little scrap. Matt Martin again.
And Wayne Doucette. They were at it before.
We're looking to give away yet another prize. We're looking for...
Well, the Leafs will get a power play here. It'll be a 4-man on 3 for 24 seconds. That's the time remaining in the those roughing minors to Mikulczyk and Butts.
Penalty's got to go to Beauregard.
Who's going to serve it? LTV, I'm not sure, but I think it's going to be somebody who's on the ice, George. For the Hawks.
Penalties up on the board. 2 minutes for interference to Stefan Beauregard. The Moncton goaltender. Wayne Doucette's coming over to serve the penalty. 1-1 tie. The Leafs and the Moncton Hawks. 2 minutes and 1 second into the second period. Face off just inside the Moncton blue line.
Number 30, Stefan Beauregard. 2 minutes for interference.
Perreault wins the draw. Gets it back to Chris Snell. Not Snell. Keeping that puck inside the blue line. Takes a shot. Gets it over to Marshall. Back to Snell. Over to Perreault. He one-timed it right on block by Beauregard. Puck's cleared off to the wing by Straub. And finally, Rob Murray clears it out to center. Yannick Perreault for the Leafs. Gets it over to Graham Marshall. Marshall for Chris Snell. Snell to Perreault and over the Moncton line. Butts and Mikulczyk are back on. There's a pass back to Snell. There's a drive. And that hit Rob Murray, and that hurt. He's slow in getting out. Snell back to his own line. Now out to center for the Leafs. And over the Moncton blue line. Try to split the defense. Does. They put the grabs on him again. It's Gillingham centering it. Back to Marshall. Marshall to Snell. Not Snell for the Leafs. Getting in front to Augusta. Shot. That's blocked. Copeland clears it into the corner. Bilesma after it. And he fires it off Snell's glove out to center ice. Snell back in his own line. Gets it to Patrick Augusta. Here's Augusta at center for the Leafs. And over the Moncton line. Augusta. Drop pass. Here's Snell. Moving up. Takes a shot. Now Snell closes in. Drive right on block. The rebound by Perreault. And that just failed to find the mark. And the Moncton net's knocked off its moorings. And they're ruling that a Moncton player did it intentionally. At least Gillingham is claiming a Moncton player did it intentionally. Well, I can't get over the holding and grabbing going on with this Moncton club tonight.
It is a lot to clutch and grab. But, George, you're going to see this in the playoffs unless hockey history really changes. This is playoff hockey, especially in this building right now, George, with the smaller dimensions. But it is frustrating to watch, and I certainly would suspect for the Leafs frustrating to play.
3:18 into the second period. Maple Leafs and Hawks tied at 1. There's 43 seconds left in the Moncton penalty.
The Leafs came close in that last flurry, but they changed things up on the forward line. It's Govaderis, Walby, and Gregg. Matt Martin's on defense, along with Paul Holden. Rob Murray is not out taking the draw for the Hawks. George, he took a shot, looked like to the rib area. He's on the bench. He looks to be okay. They just got their captain back for this series.
Greg wins the draw, gets it back to Holden. There's a drive, right on, kicked up by Beauregard, and Gernander picked up the big rebound and cleared it down the ice. Back to the Leafs to get the loose puck. It's Matt Martin. Now it's Martin starting out from behind his own net. Gets that puck out over his own line at center. Martin's checked, and the puck goes to the Moncton line. Bilesma comes up with it and flips it down the ice. Martin back for it. Lost it to Gernander. Stole it right off his stick. Quick shot kicked out by Jablonski. Now the loose Stephen Mulvey starts back to Govidaris at center to Gregg. Here's Gregg. To the Moncton line, stops, fires the puck in. Paul Holden into the corner after it. Trying to center it. McCoolchek intercepts and shoots it down the ice. Wayne Doucette steps back on, and the Moncton penalty is over. He had been serving it for Beauregard. Jablonski clears it around back of his own net. It's blocked there by Andy Brickley. He centers it. Shot and deflected just wide by Craig Fisher. Fisher in front, a pass blocked by Kucharczyk. Now the Leafs start out. Thomas Kucharczyk gets it out over his own line at center. Here's Kucharczyk in over the Moncton line to Govidaris. Big shot. That was off Copeland wide. Derek Lacroix's hauled down. No penalty. Now it's Derek Donald at center for Moncton. Shooting it in over the Leafs line. It goes wide of the net. Back for it is Brickley keeping it in. Shot in front. That's knocked down. Play is called. There's a penalty coming up to the Leafs. Is going to go to Curtis Hunt.
Well,
cross-checking is the call.
Because anything involving the stick is going to get called. Certainly you can manually maul players tonight, George. Because Lacroix got twirled. I tell you, it was like a square dance turn at the Moncton end as he got turned down and onto the ice. But, as we said, sort of like playoff hockey.
No, I disagree with you.
Well, you see a lot of clutch and grab.
I totally disagree with you.
How
Because
so?
that's not clutch and grab, that's blatant holding.
Well,
there's a difference.
Well, that's you're going to see that in the playoffs.
I mean, Darren Colburn down at that blue line, damn near had a sweater taken over his shoulders.
Yeah, but
that's not clutch and grab.
You will see it in the playoffs.
Shouldn't. No, not that blatant. Not that blatant. How a guy half loses a sweater. From the draw, Straub back at the point. I think this guy's calling a desperate game. Now it's Andy Brickley. Pass over. There's a shot, and Fisher almost tipped that in. Puck bounces out to center ice. Not Straub with the Hawks back at his own line. Gets it up to Cook, back to Straub. Straub to Cook. Joe Cook for Moncton in his own zone, turning to Gray away before checking with Grant Marshall. Goes behind the net, reverses directions. Now he starts out again. Cook gets it out at center. There's a pass blocked by Matt Martin on the Leaf line. He clears it back to the Moncton blue line. Back for the Hawks, it's Brian Straub. Straub turning his own line. Another penalty coming up. Derek Lacroix here. The pass is cleared it over the Moncton line. Matt Martin touches it. Leafs going to be 2 men short for a minute and 13 seconds. I think it's going to be slashing against Lacroix.
Yeah, slashing on Andy Brickley.
It's now time for some.
Brickley was sort of holding on to Lacroix's stick. And Eric snapped it away and
Mark
took a whack at Brickley's stick.
Well, Mark Crawford's been pretty calm to this point, George, but he's just his cool has been blown, so to speak.
I know that this guy, I mean, you know, this is a joke here tonight. 5:26 into the second period. Leafs and Hawks tied at 1. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the VOCM All Newfoundland Sports Network.
Leafs penalty to number 27, Eric Lacroix, 2 minutes for slashing. Time of the penalty, 5 minutes, 26 seconds. Lacroix, 2
slashing the call against Eric Lacroix at 5:26. And I believe Crawford has just been giving a warning by O'Halloran. Or at least the Leaf bench has. If not Crawford in particular. From the draw, Straub gets that puck back at the point. The Leafs are 2 men shy. Straub into Craig Fisher in the corner. Fisher back to Brian Straub. Straub over to McCoolchek. McCoolchek keeps that puck in there. There's McCoolchek over to Straub. Shot blocked in front. Loose puck. And it's lifted high in the air by Paul Holden down the ice. Back for Moncton Hawks. It's McCoolchek getting it up to Rob Murray. Murray forced to go back deep into his own zone. 40 seconds left in the first penalty to Curtis Hunt. That's Rob Murray starting out for Moncton. It's a pass to center to Straub. He shoots it in over the St. John's line. Craig Fisher into the corner after it. Fisher is checked. Paul Holden gets it and flips it back out to center ice. Back to the Hawks, Brian Straub at his own line to Oleg McCoolchek. Here's McCoolchek to Rob Murray in over the Moncton line. Murray stops. Murray gets it back to the point to Brian Straub. Straub over to McCoolchek. McCoolchek back to Brian Straub. Shot, it's wide. Loose puck at the side of the net. Andy Brickley with it. Gets it back out. There's a drive. Great stop by Jablonski off Fisher. And he holds on to the face-off. And just as he did, Curtis Hunt steps back out on the ice. Reminder, tonight's Newfoundland telephone face-off question. Who do you think should win the Leafs Most Valuable Player award? 2. Vote for Rich Jernamaz. Call 1-900-273-3701. To vote for Chris Snell, call 1-900-273-3702. To vote for Yannick Perreault, call 1-900-273-3703. 50 cents a call, with all proceeds going to minor hockey on Newfoundland Telephone's new 1-900 service. You could win a rare autographed St. John's Maple Leaf stick, gift certificates from McDonald's or from Dominion, or even an all-inclusive Air Atlantic trip for 2 to next year's NHL All-Star Game. And don't forget, we want you now to start suggesting topics for future games on Newfoundland Telephone's Face-Off. The topic you'd like to discuss, send it along to VOCM Sports, P.O. Box 8590 St. John's. If we use it, you'll win a prize.
George, look for the Leafs to be real aggressive here in the penalty field.
From the drive, Scubaderis intercepting a pass, gets it in over the Moncton line. He tried to set up Greg, and that failed to work. Leafs just one man shy now. Back come the Hawks. Jernander in over the line. Jernander gets it back. There's a shot. Jablonski just got a piece of it. Curtis Hunt picks up the loose puck for the Leafs. Long pass to Mark Gregg at center. One man back. In over the line. Here's Gregg. Cutting in. Where's he going? And the puck was taken away from him by Frank Kovacs. We had a good 2-on-1 there and never even got what was mounted close to a shot on goal. Hawks come back. Clear it in over the Leaf line. Jablonski get it up on the boards. Not out. Kept in by Copeland. Here's Kucharczyk after it. He's checked. Into the corner now. Derek Donald. The Leafs are back at full strength. Puck back to the point to Copeland. His shot hit a leg in front. Now Jernander in the corner. Trying to center it. It went high over the top of the net, but Jablonski leapt way up to get it and held on for a face-off.
Now Curtis Hunt kind of jawing away at one of the Moncton players. George, during just before that, when the Leafs went just one man down, he spoke directly to Chris Scubaderis and Mark Gregg, and I think he said, boys, go out and play aggressively, go get a goal. And he wants to vent his anger in some way right now, and he'd love to see a goal by the Leafs. They came very close on the penalty kill until an unexplainable play by Mark Gregg. Going down with Scubaderis, he turned away from the net with the puck without dishing it off, and Moncton got back to break it up. But it had the makings of a shorthanded goal.
1-1 tie. Leafs and Hawks, 7:34 into the second period. From the draw, puck back to the point to Copeland. A shot that hit a leg in front of the net. Now it's Rob Murray trying to center it. Kucharczyk knocked it away from him. Kucharczyk along the boards to the Leafs. Gets that puck over his own line at center. There's a pass to Lacroix. He's in over the Moncton line. Lacroix into the corner, goes back of the Moncton net. Cuts in front, centers it. It's back to the point now to Chris Snell. Here's Snell closing in with a drive. The score!
Eric Lacroix, George, I think that's a deflection.
I believe you're right, Brendan. I think Eric Lacroix deflected it. But what a play Thomas Kucharczyk made in setting all that up down in his own zone.
Well, and Snell got the puck back at the point, and Lacroix stepped right in front of Beauregard. And if he didn't tip it, he put on a real good screen. And I think the Leafs, that was a goal built out of anger right there, George. As much as anything, kind of anger channeled through good play. Because the Leafs are ticked off. I don't think that's the way they describe it, but they are ticked off.
Of the season, scored by number 27, Eric Lacroix. Assisted by number 21, Chris
From the draw, puck is back to the Leafs. The Moncton line. Leafs lead it 2-1 now as the puck's cleared down into St. John's territory. Backward is Curtis Hunt. Hunt fires that puck down into Moncton territory. Backward is Todd Copeland. That's going to be icing called against St. John's. Have an official net Leaf goal.
Yeah, Lacroix 15th of the season. Snell and Kucharczyk getting the assist at 7:59, George.
You're listening to the voice of the Leafs of the OCM Newfoundland Sports Network.
Section 5, row D, seat 13, you are the lucky winner. Please report immediately to the display case across from Leaf Fair to receive your prize. At Section 5, row D, seat 13.
George, that 50-50 draw we're looking forward to later on, what, $5,000, and there's even more?
Even more. The minimum prize is still $5,000. We'll get to that in a moment. Play resumes. Gowdy a shot. That hit a leg. Now it's Gowdy again with a drive. They score! Now that way went in off Craig Fisher. He was cruising in front of the net. It may have deflected off Fisher.
Yeah, and George,
and
again,
it's tied up.
Again, almost not a similar goal, but similar in the way it happened. Fisher may be a screen or a deflection. We'll see.
Talking about the 50-50 draw, the minimum payment is still $5,000. The minimum payout to the grand prize winner is $5,000. Out of the Booster Club's half of the proceeds, there will be 2 additional $500 prizes drawn for tonight.
So 3 chances, 5,000 or more, and 2 $500 prizes.
That's right.
And I guess you call them consolation prizes.
Yeah.
Fisher, assisted by number 24, Brian Gowdy.
Fisher did deflect that puck into the net. It's tied a Monk, come back to tie it up at 2. The draw puck split in over the Leaf line. Snell gets it back. Now the Leafs start out. There's Gregg at center. His pass intercepted by McClellan. Puck cleared back to the Leaf blue line. Jernander after play is called. McClellan and Gouvedaris are both going to go off, it looks like, for a little set 2 behind the play. Brendan, give us a repeat of those last 2 goals.
Okay, Lacroix, his 15th from Snell and Kucharczyk, gave the Leafs a 2-1 lead at 7:59 of this period. Then just 24 seconds later was Craig Fisher on a deflection, his 31st from Gowdy and Brickley. 8:23, it's tied up at 2, and speaking of things in 2s, coincidental minors, as George mentioned, to McClellan and to Chris Gouvedaris.
They were hacking at each other with the stick, so they'll probably be slashing, I would think. Face-off comes back deep in the Leaf territory to the right of goalie Pat Jablonski. 17 shots apiece. Been a very close hockey game in more ways than one.
Hawks penalty to number 29, Kevin McClellan, 2 minutes for roughing. Leafs penalty to number 14, Chris Gouvedaris, 2 minutes for slashing.
Gouvedaris gets 2 for slashing. McClellan gets 2 for roughing. 4 skaters aside out there from the draw. The Leafs start out. It's Mark Gregg getting it out over his own line at center. Gregg shoots it in over the Moncton line. It goes behind the net. Yannick Perreault races in after it, centers it in front, and it's blocked there by Rob Murray. Murray is checked, loose puck bouncing around to the side of the net. Now Todd Copeland comes up with it. Copeland in the corner to Murray. Murray, a pass up on the wing to Brian Straub. Straub at center in over the St. John's line. Drop pass to Bilesma. His shot is wide, puck is into the corner. Murray of the Hawks and after it. Centers it, tipped off to the wing by Grant Marshall. Marshall picks it up and fires it down into Moncton territory. Backward is Todd Copeland, and the Leafs are going to be called for icing. We have played 9:26 into the second period. Leafs and the Hawks tied at 2. And a reminder, Newfoundland Telephone's face-off tonight. Who do you think should win the Leafs Most Valuable Player Award? To vote for Rich Chernomaz, call 1-900-273-3701. To vote for Chris Snell, 1-900-273-3702. To vote for Yannick Perreault, call 1-900-273-3703. 50 cents a call, with all proceeds going to minor hockey. Newfoundland Telephone's new 1-900 service.
Not to dispute the choices there, George, but it just goes to show how much talent's on this team when Patrick Augusta, who leads the league in goals, and Ken McRae, who may be this team's best player in the second half, aren't among the choices.
Yeah. From the draw, it's Paul Holden at center, shooting it in over the line. Back for it is Cook. He goes behind his own net. Cook gets it out to center. It's stopped there by Matt Martin, and Doucette took it away from him. And he lost it as Kucharczyk knocked it away. That's Matt Martin back out of center for the Leafs. He fires it in over the Moncton line. Puck comes to the side of the net. Backward is Joe Cook. Clears it off the boards, and it comes out to center. Puck is down and over the Leafs blue line. Backward is Matt Martin. All right, plays it up to Lacroix. He steers it out to center and asks McCulloch for the Hawks. Pass blocked at the Leaf line by Paul Holden. Here's Holden, back for St. John's at center. Holden has a puck knocked off his stick, was after it, and then it's cleared back to the Leafs blue line by Ken Jernander. Matt Martin back, can't get it out. Jernander kept it in. He dumps it into the corner, it bounces behind the Leaf net. Matt Martin back in the corner now to Paul Holden. Here's Holden starting out for St. John's, the center to Stephen Walby. Walby in over the Moncton line. He's checked by Copeland. Kucharczyk follows up, keeps it in, but his pass is blocked. Now the Hawks start out. The penalized players return. Fisher at center. In over the line. He's checked by Curtis Hunt. Backward is Guy LaHoo. LaHoo clears it off the boards to center ice. It's stopped for the linesman. Then Copeland fires it ahead. McClellan picks it up and over the line. McClellan ran into Curtis Hunt. Puck goes into the corner. Right the side of the net. Jablonski grabs it, holds on for the face-off.
And Kevin McClellan, who was captain to Curtis Hunt's assistancy last year, gave Hunt a pretty good face wash in the corner, George. Either that or he's just showing him his new gloves. close.
Well, they're not
Close
close.
hand.
11:01 gone in the opening period. In the second period, the Leafs and Hawks tied at 2.
Now's your chance to win under $400 in groceries. Please.
Haven't seen much of Darren Colburn.
We have not, and a lot of it, I think, George, has to do with the penalty situation. Leafs either penalty killing or playing 4-on-4 a lot in this period.
From the draw, here's Fisher in front. Shot blocked by Jablonski. Loose puck is picked up by Chris Gavaderis. He gets it to Mark Gregg. Gregg clears it down into the Moncton zone. Backward is Todd Copeland. Copeland. That's at center now. There's a pass to Derek Donald. He flips it in over the lead line. Jablonski cleared it into the corner. Puck comes back to the point of Gowdy. Gowdy shoots it in there. Donald couldn't come up with it. Curtis had him tied up. Now it's into the corner for Craig Fisher, and Gila Hu bumps him off the puck. There's Puck Fisher in the corner again. This time checked by Curtis Hunt. Derek Donald steals it. Here's Donald back to the point to Todd Copeland. Copeland just dumps it into the corner. Fisher after it for the Hawks. He's checked by Curtis Hunt, who kicks the puck out to center ice. There's Mark Gregg after it to Gavaderis. Gavaderis in over the Moncton line. Gavaderis, let's go with a drive over the top of the net. Back to the point to Curtis Hunt. Hunt in front of the net to Gregg. Gregg to Walby, a shot. Big stop by Beauregard off Walby. Along the boards, Brickley's taken in there by Gillingham. Gregg keeps the puck into Gillingham. Into the corner to Stephen Walby. Slammed into the boards by Todd Copeland and tied up. Craig Fisher gets the puck and shoots it down the ice. Back to the Leafs to get it is Chris Snell. It's icing called against Moncton.
Well, once again, George, the Leafs' best line, Walby, Gregg, and Gavaderis, at least in terms of scoring chances. As Walby made the nice play, stepped out in front, got a control of the puck, and tried to put it high in the glove side, but Beauregard with a dandy save.
You're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the VOCM Newfoundland Sports Network.
C12, you've won a Maple Leafs leather baseball cap and a spring jacket. Please report to the display case across from Leafwear to claim your prize.
From the draw, Snell shoots it into the corner. Darren Colburn in after, plays it back for Yannick Perreault in front of Gillingham. He shot it wide. Colburn after the puck. Behind the net, in front, and it's intercepted by Rob Murray. Murray gets it off in the wing to Dan Bilesma. Bilesma center to the Leaf line. Stopped there by Grant Marshall. This puck's picked up by Rob Murray. Murray gets it back. Brian Straub fires it in over the St. John's line. Murray in along the right wing boards. Let it go back to the point. There was nobody there. It comes all the way back down to the Moncton zone. Backward is Oleg Mikulchik. Mikulchik. That's center to Bilesman. Bilesman to the St. John's line. Stopped by Snell. Then Kovacs clears it in offside. Kovacs is arguing the offside. He's got to be kidding. The guy was 10 feet over the line. He's lucky it wasn't called intentional.
Yeah, I think maybe he's saying maybe it should have been a delayed offside, George, but the puck was right in the neighborhood of that his teammate, and I think that's why the whistle was blown right away.
Reminder, tonight's BFI Hockey Night Trivia brought to you by BFI Waste Systems, waste collection and recycling systems you can depend on. Tonight's question, kind of an easy one. Who won the St. John's Maple Leafs Community Service Award in 1992-93? Who won the Leafs Community Service Award last season? From the draw, puck straight in over the Moncton line. Beauregard dropped it down for Cook. He fires it off the board through his set. He's checked by Kucharczyk. Now Kucharczyk with the puck, backhands it in over the Moncton line, stopped by Mikulchik. Mikulchik goes back deep to get away from the forechecking to Patrick Augusta. Try some fancy stick work and Patty, that would work. Augusta takes him into the boards. Cook comes up with a loose puck. On the boards to Kevin McClellan. McClellan clears it to center ice. Matt Martin fires it right back in over the Moncton line. Backward is Cook ahead of McClellan. McClellan gets away from Thomas Kucharczyk. Rink wide pass is center to Mikulchuk and over the St. John's line. Mikulchuk in front, blocked by Jablonski, and he holds on for the faceoff. 13 minutes and 42 seconds gone in the second period. The St. John's Maple Leafs 2, the Moncton Hawks 2. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the VOCM Newfoundland Sports Network.
Shots on goal in this period, 11-7 in favor of the Hawks. 2018. Moncton holds the advantage through almost 2 periods of play. As George mentioned, 6:18 left. Yannick Perreault, Todd Gillingham, and Mark Gregg. Carefully.
From the draw, Gowdy, a shot right on. That's blocked. Fisher with a drive, and he drilled it wide. Now it's Mark Gregg for the Leafs. Clearing it to center. It's stopped by Gowdy. Gowdy gets it over to Copeland. Copeland is checked. The loose puck's picked up by Mark Gregg here. Gregg gets it at his own line. Drops it back to Curtis Hunt. Hunt over to Guy Lahou. Lahou over to Curtis Hunt. That's Hunt getting it out over his own line at center. It's blocked there. Cleared back in by Gowdy. Hunt backward again for the Leafs. Gets it to Perreault. Perreault at center to Mark Gregg. Here's Gregg ahead to Perreault. He tipped it in over the Moncton line. Gregg after it. He's taken in on the boards by Copeland. They do a bit of shoving. Gillingham digs the puck loose. Gets it to Yannick Perreault. Perreault in front of Curtis Hunt. He's shot deflected wide by Fisher. Andy Brickley picks up the loose puck for the Hawks. Clears it out to center and all the way down into Leaf territory. Backboard is Curtis Hunt. They wave icing off. Now it's Hunt getting it off the boards to center. It's taken there by Wayne Doucette. Doucette ahead to McClellan. Off his stick and over the Leaf line. Hunt with it. Clears it to center for Colburn. Colburn shoots it to the Moncton line. Mark Gregg comes up with it. Fires it into the corner of Moncton territory. Backboard is Oleg Mikulchik. Mikulchik behind his own net. A pass to Gernander. Center to McClellan. And over the St. John's line. McClellan check. Gernander picks a loose puck up. Into the corner. It's cleared behind the Leaf net. Gugadaris with it. Gugadaris took a bump from McClellan. Now it's Doucette trying to center it. It comes to the boards and it's cleared out to center by Darren Colburn. Puck goes to the Moncton blue line. Backboard is Oleg Mikulchik. Mikulchik to Brian Straub. Straub up to Kevin McClellan. McClellan at center for Gernander. He's in over the St. John's line. And Gernander lost it to Grant Marshall. Marshall clears it off the boards into the corner. McClellan after it. And Chris Snell took it away from him. Snell goes behind his own net. Snell starting out. Gets that puck out to center ice. Todd Copeland with it. Ahead to Doucette, and it was offside at the Leaf line. We have 4:10 remaining in the second period. Leafs and Hawks tied at 2. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs of the OCM All Newfoundland Sports Network.
Tonight's winner of the Maple Leafs hat-trick promotion is Karen Westcott of St. John's. Karen had guessed that the player with jersey number 27 would score the third goal of tonight's.
Hey, George, we got a herder update. Our first score of the night with about 14 minutes left in the second period at the Cape St. John Arena in Lassie. It's the Southern Shore Breakers 2 and the Lassie Jets 1.
2-1 for the Southern Shore with 5 minutes to go roughly in the second period. From the draw, puck clear to center. Cook fires it in over the Leafs line. Backboard is Paul Holden here. It's tied 2-2, Moncton and St. John's, with about 4 minutes left in the second period. That's Patrick Augusta. Long pass to center for Lacroix. He steers it in over the Moncton blue line. Backboard is Todd Copeland. Dumps it into the corner. Lacroix in there first. Try to center it. Copeland blocked it. Gets it to Bilesma. Bilesma is hit by Lacroix. Kucharczyk in there, but Rob Murray comes up with the puck. Can't get it out. Matt Martin kept it in. A shot. Blocked by Copeland. Another shot. That hit Larry Lacroix. Now it's Copeland. Checked by Patrick Augusta. Puck comes back. Matt Martin trying to keep it in, but it's knocked out to center by Rob Murray. Lacroix shoots it back in over the Moncton line. And the puck's knocked down by a high stick. 3:22 remaining in the second period. Leafs and Hawks tied at 2. Again, you're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the VOCM All Newfoundland Sports Network.
From McDonald's. Well, why not treat your neighbor's kids to a Happy Meal as well? We have a Happy Meal party for 10 to give away right now to the lucky fan in section 6.
These are the type of games that have got to drive a coach nuts. You know, just a few games away from getting the playoffs underway now, but clutching and grabbing and BS is going on behind the plays just results in so many injuries, George. And lucky that they haven't had any so far here tonight.
I agree with Brendan in one sense, so you're going to see a lot more of it in the playoffs, but I do think that an awful lot of this stuff should be called tonight. He's letting far too much stuff go. From the draw, Snell starting out. He's checked. Fisher with a drive, and it's wide. That's Yannick Perreault for the Leafs. Backhanding it down into Moncton territory. Backboard is Brian Gowdy. Gowdy gets it up to Derek Donald. Donald at center. And to Fisher in over the line to Brickley. Brickley to Donald. His shot deflects wide. Puck goes behind the Leaf net into the corner. After Derek Donald, Chris Snell takes him into the boards. Craig Fisher after the loose puck. Fisher gets it loose to Andy Brickley. Brickley back to Gowdy. Weak shot. That's blocked by Yannick Perreault, and Perreault clears it off the boards down into Moncton territory. Back for the Hawks to get it is Brian Straub. Straub out at center to Fisher. He put it to an open wing. There was nobody there. Matt Martin back, clears it to center ice. Brickley with it, given him up by Gillingham. Gillingham and Gowdy are having words. As the puck's behind the Leaf net, and Matt Martin has it. That's Martin starting out, clears it off the glass to center. Gowdy with it for Moncton ahead of Gernander. Gernander fires it in over the St. John's line. It goes behind the net. Backboard is Matt Martin. That's Martin starting out. Flips that puck to center. It's taken there by Oleg Mikulchik. Mikulchik. A pass to Doucette. In over the line to Gernander. Shot right on, blocked by Jablonski. Puck is into the corner. Backward is Paul Holden. Holden clears it around on the boards. Now kept in by Mikulchik. Mikulchik trying to get it in front. Gets it over to Gernander. A drive is over the top of the Leaf net. Loose puck is picked up by Todd Gillingham, and he clears it down into Moncton territory. Backboard is Cook, and it's icing called against the Leafs. 1:29 remaining in the second period. The Leafs and Hawks tied at 2. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the VOCM All Newfoundland Sports Network.
George, it gets pretty bad when the referee talks to a player and says, hey, listen, I'm going to give you a break, but cut it out. You don't give the guy a break. If he's doing something that's supposed to be called, you call it. You don't give the guy a break.
Do you get the impression that Brian wouldn't give him a break?
George, it just doesn't make any sense. It's professional hockey. The guy's being paid to referee professional hockey, then referee the game.
Face off deep in Leaf territory. 2-2 tie, 1:29 to go in the second. From the draw, Curtis Hunt clears it around back of his own net for Stefan Walby. Walby taken into the boards by Kovacs. Puck comes back to the point to Straub. He dumps it back into the corner. There's Bilesma after it. Bilesma trying to center it, but it's taken away by Hunt. Ahead to Gouvedaris. Gouvedaris gets it out over his own line at center. He's in over the Moncton line to Rob Butts. Here's a shot, tipped just wide. Now the Hawks start back. There's Rob Murray at center with a minute left in the period. He shoots it in over the St. John's line. Behind the net, Jablonski clears it off the boards out to center ice. Backboard is Brian Straub. Straub fires it right back in over the St. John's line. Again, Jablonski blocks it behind the net. LaHoo back. Gets it off the boards, out over the line, and Copeland shot it back in.
And a really good solid hit by LaHoo, George. Drew a response from the crowd. And
there's Kovacs and Rob Butts with the gloves off, and Guy LaHoo and somebody. Who's that with LaHoo? Rob Murray, is it?
Well, it was Murray that he checked, George. And whatever you think of the referee, there's either two things got to happen now with the getting chippy. Either he's got to start calling penalties and putting some of these guys in the box, or let them duke it out and get it out of their systems. I don't know, one or the other. He just can't.
Well, there's no fighting going on. Well, they've got Butts and Kovac separated, but LaHoo and Murray, it's a wrestling match down there in the corner. I don't think he's been any punches thrown at all. 45 seconds remaining in the second period. The Leafs and Hawks tied at 2. Don't forget tonight's Newfoundland telephone face-off question. Who do you think should win the Leafs Most Valuable Player award? To vote for Rich Chernamaz, call 1-900-273-3701. To vote for Chris Snell, 1-900-273-3702. To vote for Yannick Perreault, call 1-900-273-3703. 50 cents a call, with all proceeds going to minor hockey on Newfoundland Telephone's new 1-900 service. And you can win a number of valuable prizes as well.
Well, Rob Murray of the Hawks and LaHoo will get a penalties.
Murray's gone to the dressing room.
Again, there's only 45 seconds left now. That might have something to do with it, but LaHoo did go to the penalty box. So whether that indicates Murray's going to get something extra or whether he's just going to take the time, extra time inside, I don't know. Now Curtis Hunt's arguing.
So that means Moncton's not getting anything extra.
That all started with a good hit by LaHoo on Murray. Then Butts and Kovacs kind of got into a squabble in front of the net.
Well, we still now, Jernander's gone over to explain it to Hawks coach Rob Laird. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, Brendan. 45 seconds remaining in the second period. The Leafs and the Hawks are tied at 2. I don't know. Rob Murray's getting a temporary misconduct or something out of this. Well, there's no extra penalties up on the clock.
Well, both coaches took the explanations fairly calmly. So
here we go.
Hawks, number 28, Frank Kovacs, and number 11, Rob Murray, and to Leafs, number 34, Rob Butts, and 22, Guy Lehoux. 2 minutes. Time of the penalties,
19 minutes, 15 seconds.
No, roughing minors all the way around.
it makes you wonder what all the explanations.
From the dots, Matt Martin at center for the Leafs, shoots it to the Moncton line. Backboard is Todd Copeland. Copeland plays it inside his own line to Straub, back to Copeland. Copeland gets it back to Straub. Straub, a pass that hit Grant Marshall, bounces to center. Picked up by Fisher. He shoots it in over the St. John's line. Biles after it. Centers it in front. It's tipped back to the point. Straub kept it in. Straub gets it over to Copeland. A shot. Lacroix blocked that. It almost hit him in the face. Woo, Eric. Take him a bit lower than that. That hit caught by Lacroix high in the chest. That had to hurt. Puck cleared back and over the Leaf line. Backward is Paul Holden. He'll take it behind his net, and that's where the period will end. Score after 40 minutes of play. The St. John's Maple Leafs 2, the Moncton Hawks 2. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the VOCM All Newfoundland Sports Network. Score tied 2-2. Puck goes to the Leaf zone. Chris Snell with it. Gets it over to Curtis Hunt. Hunt gets it to the line. That out is kept in by Doucette. He's poke check. Puck goes off to the wing and Eric Lacroix recovers. Lacroix to Kucharczyk. At center, it's intercepted. Now McClellan dumps it back in over the Leaf line. Jablonski out of the goal. Got it into the corner. Kucharczyk knocked it away from Kevin McClellan. Here's Thomas Kucharczyk at center for the Leaf. Shoots it in over the Moncton line. Backboard is Cook, clears it around on the boards. And Jernander gets it out to center ice. That is poked down and over the Leafs line. Backboard is Curtis Hunt. Hunt gets it over to Chris Snell. Snell, a pass to center. Kucharczyk after it in over the Moncton line. Going in and goal. Shot kicked out by Beauregard. Into the corner, it's Gouvedaris. Trying to get it loose. He does. Kucharczyk comes up with the back to Gouvedaris. He's given a bump by Cook. Kucharczyk comes up with the puck. Back to the point to Matt Martin with a drive that hit a leg in front of the net. Now the Hawks start back. Andy Brickley. That's it over Jernander and over the St. John's line. A shot blocked by Matt Martin. Kucharczyk picks up the loose puck, shoots it down the ice. Going backward is Todd Copeland, and it's going to be icing called against the Leafs. 1:16 gone in the third period. The St. John's Maple Leafs and the Moncton Hawks still locked in a 2-2 tie. And a reminder about our Newfoundland telephone face-off question tonight. Who do you think should win the Leafs Most Valuable Player award? To vote for Rich Chernamaz, call 1-900-273-3701. To vote for Chris Snell, 1-900-273-3702. To vote for Yannick Perreault, 1-900-273-3703. 50 cents a call with all proceeds going to minor hockey. You could win a rare autographed St. John's Maple Leaf stick, gift certificates from McDonald's or from Dominion, or even an all-inclusive Air Atlantic trip for two to next year's NHL All-Star Game in San Jose, California. From the draw, Matt Martin gets control of the puck and lost it, and finally it's recovered by Grant Marshall. Marshall gets it up to Mark Gregg at center. He fires it in over the Moncton blue line. Puck ends up behind the Hawks net. Backward is Todd Copeland. That's Copeland starting out for Moncton. Pass is center to Bilesma. His pass blocked by Martin at the Leaf line. Martin tried to pass it to Gutierrez, who fell, and the puck is down the ice. Moncton's going to be called for icing. The Leafs, rather, sorry, called for icing.
All those penalized players back out now. In fact, Murray and Kovacs been right onto the ice. Butts and LaHoo for the Leafs to the bench, although we suspect we'll see them later on in this period.
Section I, row E.
Gillingham, Gregg, and Perreault, a line that was put together in the second period. Guy LaHoo will be out there now with Chris Snell for the Leafs.
You can claim your prize.
Who, George, have been the league's best team over the last 10 games. 8-1-1. The only blight, and it was quite a blight, George, the loss and the tie to PEI here at home last week.
From the draw, Snell off the boards to Waldy. Can't get it out, kept him by Straub. Shot to hit a leg in front. Gillingham for the Leafs. Clears to the center. Puck goes to the Moncton line. Backward is Andy Brickley to Straub. Straub over to Mikulczyk. Back to Brian Straub. Straub from Moncton gets that puck out to Craig Fisher at center. He flips it high in the air into the Leaf zone. Andy Brickley racing after it. Dropped it back, but it's taken away by Yannick Perreault. Perreault for the Leafs. The center to Stephen Walby. He's in over the Moncton line. Walby into the corner, taken into the boards. Puck's cleared, not out, kept in by Perreault. Weak shot, and that's blocked by Craig Fisher. Fisher back at center for Moncton, in over the St. John's line. Fisher stops, couldn't get by. Guy LaHoo drove him into the boards. Puck center, Brickley, a shot went off the leg in front. Now it's Todd Gillingham. Throwing it out to center ice. Back for the Hawks, it's Joe Cook. Cook in over the St. John's line. Goes around back at the Leaf net. Guy LaHoo took him into the boards pretty heavily. Puck is still in there. And Cook now without his sticks, trying to kick it to a teammate. He does. Well, no, it's intercepted by Chris Snell. Snell then lifts it off the boards down in the Moncton territory. Back for the Hawks, Todd Copeland, touch and icing called against St. John's. 3:02 got in the, well, they wave icing off at the last minute. Then the Hawks clear it down the ice. We better wait this time. Yes, there's a whistle. This time it is icing.
Actually, the first one was a pretty good call, I think, George. They were waving it off.
3:12 gone on the third. Leafs and Hawks at 2. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs of the OCM All Newfoundland Sports Network.
Tracker, Augusta, and Derek Lacroix, Matt Martin, and Curtis Hunt, the defenseman.
From the draw, puck is in behind the Moncton net. Backward is Todd Copeland. Copeland starting out. Pass up in the wing to Rob Murray at center. He fires it in over the St. John's line. Bounces behind the net. Biles man after it. Shot it right through the crease. Eric Lacroix picks up the loose puck. Pokes it out to center. There's Kucharczyk racing after it. Straub beat him to it. Cleared it back to the Leaf line. Backward is Curtis Hunt over to Matt Martin. Martin up to Augusta. Augusta at center. Pass knocked down by Lacroix. He fires it in wide of the Moncton net. Back for the Hawks to get it is Brian Straub. Straub behind his own net, checked by Augusta, but the puck is recovered by Gowdy. Brian Gowdy. Gets it into the corner and hands it back again. Pass to Kovacs goes by him down the ice. Racing back is Chris Snell. It's icing again against the Moncton Hawks. A lot of icing calls in the first 4 minutes of this third period. Score remains tied at 2.
Well, we mentioned before, a tie here tonight or better, and the Leafs clinch the overall AHL points title.
Well, the Leafs, or the Moncton Hawks, rather, are going for second place in the Atlantic Division and home ice against in that semifinal against St. John.
Well, I tell you, nobody seems to want second place, George.
No.
St. John losers to PEI last night, 5-2.
Hey, what do you think of that? Almost 3,700 in that game in Charlottetown last night.
Well, I tell you, that's a pretty good club they got there in Charlottetown. Burakovsky with 3 goals. Charbonneau, the rookie goaltender again, and they've got another good defenseman of the Quebec League by the name of Patrick Traverse, the juniors they signed to a tryout.
From the die, here's Jernander at center and over the Leaf line. In front, shot! What a save by Jablonski! Off Wayne Doucette, the save of the hockey game. Leafs clear it back down and over the Moncton line. Backboard is Oleg Mikulchek. That's Mikulchek. For the Moncton Hawks behind his own net. There's a long pass, it's blocked by Gouvedaris. There's a drive, he ripped it just wide. Hawks failed to get it out. Gouvedaris kept it in, pokes it into toward the net, but is taken away by Oleg Mikulchek. Mikulchek to Wayne Doucette. Doucette at center to Jernander. Jernander is checked. Now back on the Leafs. Mark Gregg kicks it in over the Moncton line. Backboard is Oleg Mikulchek. Last Mikulchek starting out for Moncton. Gets that puck over to Jernander at center. Jernander in over the St. John's line. Gets it over to Wayne Doucette. There's a shot. That's about 20 feet wide. Back to the point of drive, and that hit a leg in front. Back come the Leafs now. Stephen Walby out over his own line at center. Walby in over the Moncton line, trying to go around Brian Straub. Passes off to an open wing, and Derek Donald comes up with the puck for Moncton. Feeds it to center. It's blocked. Now it's Yannick Perreault back to the Leafs. Shoots it to the Moncton line. Stopped there by Straub. Straub gets it out to center ice. Gillingham fires it right back in over the Moncton blue line. Hawks back behind their own net now. Fisher into the corner to Straub. Straub up to Brickley. Brickley at center. Shoots it in over the Leaf line. Jablonski out of the net. Tips it back into the corner. Matt Martin ahead of Yannick Perreault. Here's Perreault at center. A pass intercepted by Joe Cook. Cook off the boards. To Doucette. Shoots it in over the St. John's line. Backward is Matt Martin. Martin gets it to the point that out kept in by Cook. His shot is blocked. Puck bounces onto center ice. Finds Straub back. Shoots it right back in over the St. John's line. Jablonski out of the goal. Feeds it up to Stephen Walby. Walby to Todd Gillingham at center. Gillingham shoots it off the boards and over the Moncton blue line. Gowdy back, clears it down into Leaf territory. Backward is Paul Holden. That's Holden at center. Long pass to Lacroix over the Moncton line. A shot! Big stop by Beauregard, and he holds on to the face-off. And Gowdy and Lacroix do a bit of shoving. Brendan, what a save a minute ago that Pat Jablonski made off Wayne Doucette.
It was a dandy save, George, and he wasn't even given credit. They haven't posted a shot yet from Moncton. So I don't know, maybe somebody saw something different than we did, but he came across, stacked the pads as Doucette tried to finish off what would have been a beautiful 2-on-1 play, but the beauty of it all was Jablonski's save.
You're listening to the voice of the Leafs of the OCM All Newfoundland Sports Network.
Telephone. Congratulations, Mark Smith, and our thanks as well to Newfoundland Telephone.
2-2 tie, Leafs and Hawks, 6:16 into the third period. The Leafs need at least a point out of this game to clinch first place overall in the American Hockey League. They have 100 points, and this is their last game of the regular schedule. From the dots, Kovacs now starting out for Moncton. Long pass to center, blocked by Snell. Snell can't get it up. Bilesman kept it in. Shot! Big save, the rebound. Another fine stop of Jablonski. Now the Leafs start out. Kucharczyk to Augusta. At center to Lacroix. Lacroix back, shoots it in over the Moncton line. Now Bilesman clearing it back into the corner. It's stopped by Lacroix. Lacroix shoots it around back of the Moncton net again. This time Joe Cook comes up with it. Cook for Moncton. Feeds it back to Mikulchek. A pass blocked at center by Guy Lahou. He shot it to the Moncton line. And Cook shoots it back down into Leaf territory. Back for the Leafs to get it is Curtis Hunt. That's Hunt getting it out over his own line at center. Lifts it in over the Moncton blue line. Backward is Todd Copeland. Copeland ahead to Wayne Doucette. Doucette back at center. Shoots it in over the St. John's line. Back for the Leafs to get it is Curtis Hunt. Hunt off the boards. Grant Marshall can't get it out. Kept him by Copeland. A shot. That deflected wide of the Leaf net. Jernander and Gregg go to the corner. Gouvedaris in there to help out. It's poked loose. Hawks keep it in. Doucette poked it into the corner. Now it's Guy Lahou behind his own net to Curtis Hunt. Hunt gets it to Grant Marshall. Marshall to Mark Gregg. Back to Marshall. He's out over his own line at center to Gouvedaris. Gouvedaris to Snell in over the Moncton line. Or to Lahou, rather. A shot deflects over the top of the net. Puck behind the Moncton net. Mark Gregg and after it cuts in front. He tried to jam it in the short side. and it's held against the post by Stefan Beauregard. 7:41 got in the third period. Leafs 2, Hawks 2. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the BOCM Newfoundland Sports Network.
$5,000, and we will be drawing 3 numbers. The second and third numbers will be for $500 consolation prizes. So once again, we will be drawing.
George, another couple of good saves by Jablonski at the Leafs end.
$5,000, and the second and the third numbers.
I'd love to have a hot goaltender doing that sort of stuff going into the playoffs.
Face-off is deep in Moncton territory to the left of Stefan Beauregard. Jabber's been hot in this third period.
Well, one thing you got to say about Cliff Fletcher, George, when this team has needed somebody, he's gone out and got it. Mark Ferner in the first year for certain, and Jablonski, what a pickup he has been this year.
From the dock, Greg Fisher for the Leafs. For the Hawks, rather, at center, a 2-line pass to Andy Brickley, and it's whistled down offside. 2-2 tie, Leafs and Hawks. Reminder about tonight's Newfoundland telephone face-off question. There are, I should say, our BFI Hockey Night Trivia. I want to get that one in now. Brought to you by BFI Waste Systems. Waste collection, recycling systems you could depend on. Question we asked tonight: who won the St. John's Maple Leafs Community Service Award in 1992-93?
I can't even remember. It's one of 2 guys, Eric Lacroix or Yannick Perreault.
Oh, you're half right. There were 2 winners, Eric Lacroix and Dave Tomlinson.
Okay, there you go.
Co-winners last year, Eric Lacroix and Dave Tomlinson. On the draw, the puck cleared in over the lead line, then Colburn got it out to center. That's Oleg Mikulchuk. Gets it over to Brian Straub. Straub shot it to the lead line and over. Backford is Paul Holden. Holden back with the puck. Gets it up on the boards to Rob Butts. Butts starting out. There is a penalty coming up to the Leafs. Eric Lacroix is going to get it.
Well, he did get his stick under the Hawks player, but he said that the Hawk grabbed his sweater as he went by.
That was Craig Fisher, actually.
But the Leafs will have to kill off the Moncton power play here about midway through the third period. Scored 2-2. George, Dave Tomlinson, boy, he should get an award just for patience. I remember 2 years here, he was presented with more hockey cards as Dave Tomlinson. That's Thomlinson. He played for Boston and St. Louis, now plays for Los Angeles. And he had to tell him, no, this is not me. No, this is not me.
This season is.
And Dave Tomlinson not with the Moncton right now. He's still with Winnipeg, but expected to join this team in about a week's time. Although Charlie Bourgeois was telling me today they're not expecting them, even if the series starts on the 15th, they don't expect to get them for the first game.
Mark back to Mikulchuk. Shot is wide. Moncton on a power play. Score tied 2-2. Ken Jernander gets it back into the corner to Danny Biles, but back to Jernander. Jernander being watched by Matt Martin. Trying to work it out in front. Winds up for the shot. Kicked up at Jablonski. The rebound. And that's fine. Into the corner now. Jernander couldn't hang on to it. Govidaris comes up with it. Here's Govidaris out at center of the Leafs. Takes it back inside his own line. Takes his time and then fires it off the boards down the ice. Hawks back in their own zone to regroup in the power plays. The Leafs change up in their penalty killing unit. Now the Hawks start out again. It's Joe Cook at center. Ahead to Rob Murray. He steers it in over the leaf line. Backward is Curtis Hunt. And he fires it off at glass down to the Moncton blue line. Hawks back in their own zone again. Regroup led by Oleg Mikulchuk. Now it's Mikulchuk. Starting out for Moncton. Headman's that puck at center to Andy Brickley. Brickley checked by Thomas Kucharczyk. Fisher with a loose puck ahead of Brickley. Brickley gets it over to Derek Donald. Donald back to Brian Straub. He's in over the St. John's line. Drop pass to Brickley. Into the corner. Curtis Hunt. Interception beats it down the ice. Now Stefan Beauregard behind his own net. Leaves it there for Todd Copeland. Copeland in the corner to Brian Straub. Straub being chased by Mark Gregg. Gregg almost took it away from him. Copeland recovers a loose puck. Copeland goes behind the Moncton net. A pass up to Andy Brickley at center. His pass intercepted by Govidaris. Govidaris back inside his own line to Matt Martin. Martin shoots it back to center. It's Brian Straub of the Hawks to Brickley. Brickley to Fisher. Fisher and over the St. John's line. Tried to split the defense. Did. Couldn't get a shot away until the last minute, and then he was in too close. Then Copeland came in for the rebound and went off his stick into the crowd. 18 seconds left in the penalty to Eric Lacroix at the 1:05 mark of the third period. Leafs and Hawks tied at 2. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the VOCM Newfoundland Sports Network.
Fans of the stadium tonight, and they have 2 $75 gift certificates to give away. Tonight's lucky fans are in section section M, row B, seat 5.
Well, just over halfway through the third period. This has turned into a fairly long game, George. Almost 10 o'clock, although it was a little late in starting because of the presentations at the beginning. I believe one of the intermissions was a little longer, but this game, if it goes into overtime, which it very well could run us into 10:30.
From the draw, puck cleared down into Moncton territory. Backward is Oleg Mikulchek. Score still tied at 2-2 here. Now the Hawks start out. Here's Brian Straub at center and over the St. John's line. Straub. To the point, it's intercepted. Eric Lacroix is back out on the ice. Lacroix after the puck. He's tripped up to Mikulchek. Penalty coming up to the Moncton Hawks. And I say that may pay back for the one that Eric Lacroix took, because I think Eric took a dive in that.
Well, he was definitely, Mikulchek didn't put himself in very good position, George, though. He got the stick up around the chest, and Lacroix was astride in front of him, and that's going to be called each and every time. 10:31.
Oleg Mikulchek, 2 minutes for hooking.
Hooking is the call against Mikulchek. Now the Leafs go to the power play.
Mikulchek, 2 minutes for hooking.
The face off about 10 feet inside the Moncton blue line. Leafs tied up with the Moncton Hawks. 2-2 here, midway through the third period.
George, we've got one whole section down there with those number 1 or finger signs, and they're going mad.
I think they were the Leafs section of the night or something like that. From the draw, Snell keeps it in, gets it over to Grant Marshall. Marshall in the corner, it's intercepted and shot out to center by Bilesman. Back to the Leafs, Chris Snell gets it to Mark Gregg. Gregg took a pretty good slap on the side of the head from Rob Murray with a stick. Marshall with the loose puck, shoots it in over the Moncton line. Beauregard back, can't get it out, kept in by Marshall, and he's knocked down. Loose puck in front, Perreault, and he's checked by Rob Murray. Murray in the corner, Perreault checked him. Puck cleared back to the point, and Marshall couldn't keep it in. Comes by him down in the Leaf territory. Jablonski out of the net, leads it up to Grant Marshall. Here's Marshall at center to Guvadaris. Guvadaris got it in over the Moncton line, and it's knocked out to center by Ken Jernander. Jernander to Derek Donald in over the Leaf line. Donald in and goal. He shot it over the top of the net. Puck into the corner. Backward is Chris Snell. Now it's Snell for the Leafs. At center to Guvadaris. Guvadaris in over the Moncton line. Guvadaris stops into the corner. Copeland took Gregg into the boards. Gregg still with the puck though. Mark Gregg stops. Gregg in behind the net to Guvadaris. Guvadaris in front. Gregg banned at it. Back to Matt Martin, a drive off the glove of Beauregard. Then he dives on the loose puck and holds on for the face-off. 41 seconds left in the penalty. To Mikulchek of Moncton. The score tied 2-2. 11:50 gone in the third period. Reminder again of our Newfoundland telephone face-off tonight. We're asking you to pick the most valuable player in the Leafs. If you want to vote for Rich Chernamaz on Newfoundland telephone face-off for the most valuable player, call 1-900-273-3701. To vote for Chris Snell, 1-900-273-3702. And to vote for Yannick Perreault, 1-900-273-3703. 50 cents a call with all proceeds going to minor hockey on Newfoundland Tel's new 1-900 service. Valuable prizes to be won, and as well you can win even further by submitting topics that we can use in future Newfoundland telephone face-off segments. Just send them to Post Office Box 8590 St. John's, care of VOCM Sports. On the draw, loose puck. And Brian Straub comes up with it for Moncton, clears it off the boards down the ice. Back for the Leafs to get it is Matt Martin. Now it's Martin behind his own net. Here's Martin starting out for the Leafs. Gets that puck over his own line at center. 20 seconds left in the Leaf power play. It's cleared in over the Moncton blue line. Back with his Brian Straub. He's checked by Thomas Kucharczyk. Puck back to the point to Holden. Holden gets it into Augusta. Back to Holden. Here's Holden with a shot. Tipped wide by Kucharczyk. Loose puck in front. And down on top of it is Brian Straub.
The official hotel of the Maple Leafs Holiday.
Thomas Kucharczyk got dumped, George, just behind the net, and he's slow and getting up. Oh, there he is. Maybe he just grabbed him a breather.
Kucharczyk, who does not speak very much English, giving the cross-check sign to the referee. Trainer Nick Addy Gibbs out having a look at him. 7 seconds left in the penalty to Moncton's Oleg Mikulchek.
At home or at work, when you are ready for the great taste of Mary Brown's, they
Well, Kucharczyk looks like he's going to stay out, George.
Have 6 dinners for 4 to give away. That is 6.
Well, maybe not, as Mark Crawford is going to change things up.
Winners are in section B, as in Paul, row E, C.
7 minutes, 36 seconds remaining in the third period. And the way this game has gone, Brendan, you really got to start looking at overtime already because, boy, we haven't had a goal in a while. When was the last goal of this game?
That was just before the midway point of the second period, just about a period ago, 8:23. That was Fisher from Moncton to tie things up just 24 seconds after Lacroix had given the Leafs a 1-goal lead.
From the draw, puck back to Snell at the driving shot. He scores! Chris Snell! And the Leafs take the lead.
George, maybe we should say that again when the Leafs need a goal. That looked like it was deflected by whom, we're not sure, George.
Well, I'll tell you who was in front was Todd Gillingham.
Yeah. Well, and he's happy. I'll tell you, Gilly's happy. So whether that indicates he got his 21st goal of the year or not, we're not sure. It's either number 21 for 35 or a goal for number 21, Chris Snell. We'll tell you this much, it came at 12:28 and was a power play goal. 3 seconds were left in McCoolchick's minor.
That makes it 3-2 now. Leafs 3, Moncton 2. From the draw, it's Guy Lahou shooting it in over the Moncton line. It goes around on the boards. Todd Gillingham in after it. Try to center it. Perreault couldn't get a stick on it. Now the Hawks start back. Brickley at center was checked by Gillingham. Curtis Hunt shoots it right back in over the Moncton blue line. Back for the Hawks to get it is Joe Cook. That's Cook behind his own net. Headman's that puck to Andy Brickley at center. Brickley shoots it in over the Leaf line. It's centered in front, and Todd Gillingham gets it and clears it out to center ice. Now back to where Moncton is Joe Cook. Cook to McCoolchuk, back to Cook. Cook at center for Moncton to Fisher. He backhands it in over the Leafs blue line. Back where it is Curtis Hunt. Hunt lifts it high in the air. Puck bounces down to the Moncton blue line. Backward is McCoolchick. Almost lost it to Gutierrez. Now it's Cook for Moncton. Inside his own line to Oleg McCoolchick. Here's McCoolchick for Moncton. Long pass over center to Dan Bilesman. Bilesman in over the St. John's line. Bilesman goes to the net. Taken into the boards by Matt Martin. Bilesman carries on though. Gets the puck again. Behind the net to Brickley. Here's Andy Brickley cutting in front. A shot. And that's blocked. And Grant Marshall clears a loose puck out to center. Back for the Hawks, Todd Copeland takes it deep inside his own line, gets it around back of the net to Brian Gowdy. Gowdy gets it ahead to Ken Jernander. Here's Jernander at center now to Rob Murray. Get over the Moncton line ahead of Jernander. Shot. Big stop by Pat Jablonski. And Chris Gutierrez gets a loose puck and clears it down into Moncton territory. Back for the Hawks, Todd Copeland. Passes center, blocked at the Leaf line by Chris Snell. That's Chris Snell getting it over to Curtis Hunt. Out of pass, went off to Kucharczyk and over the Moncton blue line. It's blocked there by Beauregard. He clears it into the corner. Augustin after it. Passed it back, intercepted by Jernander. He can't get it out. Kucharczyk dumps it into the corner. Augusta after it. He's dumped by Rob Murray. Todd Copeland with the puck. Eric Lacroix steps into him. Kucharczyk centers it. Augusta just failed to tip it in. Back come the Moncton Hawks. Ken Jernander gets it at center. Fires along the net over the Leaf line, and the puck bounces off the boards all the way back out to center ice. Backward is Craig Fisher. Shoots it to the Leaf line. It's stopped there by Chris Snell. Snell back to the Leafs. Pass blocked by Straub at the Moncton line. He's checked and knocked down by Walby. Puck goes in over the Moncton line. Backward is Brickley. Block pass to center to Fisher and over the Leaf line. Yannick Perreault knocked it away from him. Here's Perreault back at center for the Leafs. Perreault in over the Moncton line. A pass to Gillingham. Drop pass, and Perreault has trouble with the rolling puck, then gets it to Gillingham at the side of the net, but it's taken away. Craig Fisher with the puck clears it out to center. Paul Holden for the Leafs. Fires it right back in over the Moncton line. Puck goes behind the net. Backward is Joe Cook. Cook gets it to Brian Straub. Tremendous continuous action here now. Haven't had a whistle in a while. Now here's Fisher for the Hawks. Getting it center to Wayne Doucette. Doucette in over the Leaf line. Drop pass. Goes to Brickley. There's a penalty coming up to the Leafs. There's a shot. Blocked by Jablonski. Lahou touches the puck. Penalty coming up to Paul Holden. St. John's Maple Leafs 3, the Moncton Hawks 2, 4:20 remaining in the third. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs of the OCMO Newfoundland Sports Network.
Okay, we have the winning number number 4, tonight's 50-50.
Well, with that penalty, George, Paul Holden, I think...
I was just going to look. I think he's got 99 minutes.
Yeah, he's the 10th Leaf to go over the 100-point mark this season.
That's just what I was looking up there. Give us a fish on that Leaf goal, the third one.
It was Snell, his 22nd from Perot on the power play at 12:28.
You're listening to the voice of the Leafs, the OCM on Newfoundland Sports Network.
$110 draw is 688-472. And now the winning numbers for the $500 consolation prize.
We win the $5 grand, Denise?
8-1.
Denise, do we win the $5 grand?
8-1.
I said then Denise laughs at me. I get her to hold my tickets. I figure that might change my luck.
And the other winning number for $500 consolation prize, 672-4.
Well, it's St. John's 3, Moncton 2. There's 4:20 left in the third period. The Hawks are in a power play for the next 2 minutes with Paul Holden in the penalty box.
Well, George, I didn't see any Leafs checking their tickets over at the bench, but I dare say they've got a few.
From the draw, shot, big stop at Jablonski. Yannick Perreault picks up the loose puck in front and clears it down the ice. Pat Jablonski has played well in goal for the Leafs. Got to get consideration for the number 1 star tonight, I would think. Hawks back in their own zone. McCoolchick to Brickley. A pass is center steered to the Leaf line. It's stopped there by Curtis Hunt, and Hunt shoots it down the ice. And Curtis Hunt has played another strong game for the Leafs tonight. Now the Hawks again back. It's Oleg McCoolchick. McCoolchick to Cook. Cook to McCoolchick at center to Berkeley. He fires it in over the St. John's line. It gets around back of the net. Rob Murray keeps it in. And then it's knocked off his stick by Grant Marshall to center. Here's Grant Marshall after it in over the Moncton line. Cook it back to knock it away from him. Now back come the Moncton Hawks. Rob Murray at center. Murray gets it over to Cook. He's in over the St. John's line. Curtis Hunt took him into the boards. Leafs. Gouvedaris can't get it out. The puck is swept into the corner, but it's passed ahead with a gloved hand. Andy Brickley finally touches it. We're getting a whistle because it was passed ahead, as I said, with a gloved hand. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs of the OCM on Newfoundland Sports Network.
Section B, wearing the Maple Leaf jersey and with pom-poms, serving on the Maple Leafs all night long. This man wins a St. John's Maple Leaf sweatshirt. Congratulations.
57 seconds left in the penalty to Paul Holden. 3:17 to go in the third. Leafs 3, Moncton 2.
Sweatshirt and a $25 gas gift.
Well, George, if there's one area that the Leafs have really improved on through the last half of the season, team-wise, it's been penalty killing. They're now the best in the league coming in tonight.
Once again, that's
One time they were in the bottom third.
You have won Ultramar Leafs sweatshirt.
But they, at one point there, they just seem to get a lot more aggressive penalty killing, and it's kind of signal a turnaround. And speaking of signals, I think Moncton's called a timeout. Has it been Moncton or St. John's? Yeah, Moncton.
Timeout, Moncton. We'll take this one final moment here to remind you once more about our Newfoundland Telephone Face-Off tonight. You only get a couple of more minutes to vote. We're asking you to help us select the Leafs' most valuable player. Who do you think it should be? To vote for Rich Chernamaz, call 1-900-273-3701. To vote for Chris Snell, 1-900-273-3702. And to vote for Yannick Perreault, 1-900-273-3703. 50 cents a call with all proceeds going to minor hockey, and you only have a couple of minutes more to get your vote in tonight. Okay, Brendan McCarthy. Yeah, I agree with you on the Leafs penalty killing. And I think when the Leafs penalty killing was at its worst, it was great early in the season, the first part of the season. Then when Eric Lacroix went up to Toronto, it got terrible.
Yeah, and well,
now Eric Lacroix is back, and I think the much improved play of Chris Gouvedaris has played a big part of the penalty killing.
It's actually a way different penalty killing style than we've seen before. A lot of the skaters, Gouvedaris, lately Mark Gregg and Gouvedaris up front, but Yannick Perreault has done a good job.
Yannick Perreault and Patrick Augusta.
And even another newcomer is Thomas Kucharczyk. He's been effective.
From the draw, Straub shoots it in over the Leaf line. Backward is Curtis Hunt. Hunt off the boards to Lacroix. He gets it to the line, and it's brought out by Patrick Augusta. At center to the Moncton line. A hard shot, but it's right on. And stopped by Beauregard. Back to the Hawks is Oleg McCoolchick. Hans McCoolchick behind his own net. Less than 3 minutes to go in the third. Leafs lead at 3-2. There's a pass to Fisher and over the line. He's tripped up by Curtis Hunt. And Matt Martin gets a loose puck and shoots it down the ice. Hawks back in their own zone again to regroup in the power play. It's Brian Straub starting out. He took a wicked elbow from Chris Gouvedaris. Here's Fisher with it in over the Leaf line. Shot blocked by LaHoo. Fisher behind the net. Puck goes into the corner. Mark Gregg after it. Gregg drops it back to Snell. He wasn't expecting it. The Hawks regain control. Into the corner now. It's Derek Donald. Pass, it's blocked by Snell. Donald gets it again. Back to McCoolchuk. A shot, and it went off the leg up to center. Holden's back on. The penalty is over. Puck's cleared to the leaf line. Chris Gavaderis with it. Ahead to Mark Gregg. It's over 2 lines. Did you see the elbow that Gavaderis threw at the Moncton player?
Leafs got away with a couple of things there. A trip and an elbow on that play.
2 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the third period. The St. John's Maple Leafs 3 and the Moncton Hawks 2, and the Leafs kill off that crucial penalty there. Shots and goal 30-26 in favor of Moncton at this point. If Brian is getting another call on the Herder game between LaCie and Southern Shore, we'll certainly put him on the air to give it to you right away. He's on the phone, and I presume that's what he's getting. From the drive, it's Matt Martin inside his own line. Shoots it off the boards, down in over the Moncton blue line. Back for the Hawks to get it is Derek Donald. Brendan, did you pick up the attendance? Just say yes. We'll get it. Oh, okay. Puck is cleared to the leaf line. Backward is Matt Martin. Martin clears it back to center. Gavaderis after it. He and Biles McLeod. Puck comes loose and is picked up by Todd Copeland to Janander. Checked by Holden at the leaf line. Mark Gregg clears it out to center ice. Back for the Hawks to get it is Cook. Back to his own line to Copeland. Copeland back to Cook. Minute and a half left in the third. And there's Gavaderis picking up a loose puck and shooting it in over the Moncton blue line. Back to the Hawks. Todd Copeland again. Janander. Here's Janander at center for Moncton. Long shot is wide of the lead net. Bilesma moves up, keeps it in. Shot! And it's blocked by Matt Martin. He can't get it out. Walby into the corner. Grabs put on him by Ken Janander. A couple of other players move in. Bilesma trying to work it loose. Gets it to Rob Murray. And it's knocked off his stick by Gregg into the crowd. There's a minute and 3 seconds left and no sign yet of Beauregard coming out of the Moncton net. Brian? Hold on.
Midway through the third period at the Cape St. John Arena, Southern Shore Breakers lead the LaCie Jets 5-3. Billy Windsor with a pair for the Southern Shore. Ward Goss has scored twice for the Southern Shore, and Andy Sullivan has the other.
George, Denise, we got the attendance score, 38-28. Good crowd, one of the better ones of the year.
I was hoping for at least 36, and I'll tell you why, because the Leafs now finish with an average attendance of over 3,500.
That's right. They were just 2 under, I think, 2 under the average, 34.98 coming in tonight. So.
An excellent year, and a great fan appreciation night, and the Leafs going to be happy with the fan turnout this year.
That's right, we're giving away.
1 minute, 3 seconds left. Moncton net is now empty, by the way. The Moncton net is empty. Face off deep in the Leaf zone. Moncton with 6 attackers. Leafs win the draw. Chris Snell behind his own net is Chuck. Puck, Curtis Hunt steers it into the corner. Can't get it out. Rob Murray kept it in. The pass at the referee skate. After it is Snell. He's knocked down. But Eric Lacroix gets it. After taking a pass from Yannick Perrault, clears it in over the Moncton line. Backward is Brian Straub, and the fans are on their feet cheering on the Leafs here. There's still 40 seconds left, though. Now the Hawks start up. Murray at center. Is checked. Yannick Perrault shoots the puck in over the Moncton line. Gillingham a shot. That's blocked by McCoolchuk. McCoolchuk in his own zone. The Leafs are having the Hawks in. Here's the pass to Derek Donald to center. Eric Lacroix shoots it back in over the Moncton line. Now the Hawks start out again. Donald at center. Fires it in over the Leafs line. Pat Jablonski steers it into the corner. After it is Eric Lacroix. Gets it to Perrault. Perrault at center to Gillingham. Gillingham shoots one. It went off. Straub skate wide of the mark. Straub backboard. That's it. No, wait. Now there's 2 seconds left and there's a whistle. I think there's going to be a penalty here.
Murray and Gillingham, the combatants. This is too bad, George, because it kind of takes the momentum the crowd was building up away from the game.
Once again, all 50-50 prizes have been claimed.
Well, this one's not over yet. Chris Snell talking to Rob Murray. Snell yelled at Murray, if you get any guts, drop your stick. You don't see Sneller get that upset very long. Murray's down to
2
the
seconds
dressing room.
left in the game. We're still giving away 3 more
There's 2
prizes.
seconds left.
3 more prizes. 3 lucky bags.
And there is a penalty on the play to Rob Murray of Moncton.
We have 3 Tim Hortons coffee makers and coffee kits.
Face-off is going to be outside the Moncton blue line.
Seats. Section Q, row A, seat 6. Section 6, row E, seat 4. Section 13, row D, seat 7. That's Q, A6, 6D4, 13D7. You can win your prize in the across from Bleach River main lobby.
All set to go now. Puck is dropped and the game is over. And the St. John's Maple Leafs defeat the Moncton Hawks by a score of 3-2 to clinch first place overall in the American Hockey League. They get a standing ovation from this crowd. The Leafs clinch first overall.
Well, the best ever regular season for the St. John's Maple Leafs, and that's quite a feat considering the first 2 weren't that bad, George.
No. Final score, the St. John's Maple Leafs 3, the Moncton Hawks 2. What an ovation the crowd is giving the Leafs here tonight. Brian Rogers will be back with the post-game show in a moment. You're listening to the voice of the Leafs of the OCM All New Land Sports Network.